So we have this problem in our country, right? The US of A, where people with literally no skin in the game, no stake in the economic or social future of the country, have, for some unknown reason, the right to vote equal to somebody who busts their ass for their family. And to me, that's crazy. So, like, this is a controversial video, but I think if fewer people voted, whether by choice or by legislation, I think that would solve like 70% of our problems. And here's my solution. Here's my insane, crazy solution. You, to vote, have to be able to produce like 2 years of tax returns, right? With some exceptions, like if you're too old, if you're retired, or if you're in the military, you got to prove you work. You got to prove you pay taxes. Because one of the craziest things that we have just been conditioned to think is normal is that people living off of benefits, making no money, or the only money they make is off benefits, have equal say to somebody working in a refinery making $200,000 a year who has to watch 40% of that $2,000 vaporize to go to taxes, and they breathe chemicals every day. And those two people have the same say. I have buddies whose whole lives are basically just sitting in a overgrown yard next to a dilapidated trampoline, drinking 40-ounce beers. And they go vote religiously. Like, I don't even know their politics. I don't know if they vote with me or against me. I don't care, really. I just think that's wrong, you know? I know, mentioned it before, the OnlyFans girl who has constant babies with different baby daddies, but will not get married, and limits her subscription fee to not exceed the income levels to take away her benefits. She has equal say. She can tell you, she has a say in the tax code, which is insane. Who let that happen, right? Now, I think because of the way things are, okay, so landowning is like probably too like prohibitive, right? But I think $25,000 back to back minimum to vote, and then you got to be able to produce a tax return unless you're on like temporary leave or something. Like, I think that's a pretty low bar to have a say in where the country goes. But to just think it's a right is crazy. I don't know. Like, I got to go look up when that came about, but I can't think of any old functioning society. In a lot of societies that exist today that aren't the U.S., I can't think of, like, if you proposed what I said a minute ago about the OnlyFans girl versus the chemical worker, if you go, should these people have equal say in taxation law? I think most people throughout most of history would be like, hell no. Because what the problem is, it's like, last year we went on a family cruise. There were like 18 of us. It was like 12 adults, 6 kids. I mean, it was 12 kids, 6 adults, or something like that. We were way outnumbered is the point. And if you let all of us, if you thought it was a good idea to let our party leave it up to a democratic vote on where to eat or what to eat for dinner, we would only be eating Smarties and Kit Kats. Because, like, 12 of us were kids. So it's like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, when you put it that way, it doesn't make any sense to let people that have no skin in the game and no say and like an infantile view on taxation and money determine what the grown-ups have to pay or have to eat in this case. You know, it's not fair to the adults that need protein and vegetables because they got to pay for those kids to be dictated and directed by the kids themselves. That's insane. So, you know, like I said, maybe there's exceptions for people. Perhaps like you put in like 50 quarters or something like Social Security and you're grandfathered in, or you served in the military. You know, it's not a hard solution. But I think something like this almost has to happen because, like, we all know the game, right? Like we've all seen the Somalia scandals with the daycares and stuff. We know about like buying voting blocks, basically, just like importing voters in. Like that's a problem. And if you, so like, you know, it just doesn't make any sense. It's like you have a house guest and you're going to let them tell you what color to paint the walls in your house. Like, hell no. That's crazy. And like, you know, I don't know. I'm going on a rant here because I started doing keto and now I have the keto flu and I feel bad because I haven't had carbs in a couple days. But yeah, that's my insane, crazy thought. Like I should probably be institutionalized, thrown in a padded cell with a straight jacket on. But yeah, that's my take. Like, be productive, be a contributor to society, pay taxes like the rest of us, then you get a vote. And if you want, opt out and just live off of benefits. I'm not against benefits. I'm not against people just mooching off the benefits. But you can't have that and let them vote. That doesn't make any sense. You can have one or the other. You can have no benefits and everyone can vote, or you can have benefits and only the people paying for the benefits vote. You can't, a world that has both of those things is not sustainable because you're burning the candle at both ends. Same thing with immigration. And my mom's an immigrant, by the way. But like you can either outsource jobs or import workers and lay off like native workers. You can't do both. Like it's a no-brainer. You don't even have to like crunch numbers to see how viable that is. You can just hear that and know it's crazy. So I don't know. Tell me how crazy I am. Get mad at me. Like I said, this is a controversial take for sure. But I mean, the country didn't start out that way. I'm glad anyone can vote, and I still believe that anyone can vote if you work. That's the exception. If you produce, if you contribute, you can work. I would never be a proponent of, excluding voting by things you can't help or even lifestyle. You just have to be productive. You got to be one of us. Then you can vote. But I can't pay for your shit, and then you have a say in how much more I have to pay. That's insane. And I think it needs to be called out. I'll make another video about how to fix taxes. My dad had this idea. I'll have my dad on the channel too, where he's like, okay, like if you're always borrowing at this extreme rate and you have to raise taxes, but you're also printing money, and it's an unsustainable rate and you'll never pay off the debt, why not suspend taxes and just print all the money and borrow the rest, or print some of the money, borrow the rest, and just do that and give everyone a break because it doesn't matter because it's the same end result. And I have economist friends and stuff, and because like I said, we're in financial land, and they won't even take the question seriously. It's like, why not? Give me an answer. What are you talking about? Like, don't give me the Reddit smirk. Answer me. Why? Like, they don't have an answer for it. Because all these systems that we live in, that we accept, that we've been conditioned to think are normal, like people that don't do shit voting, and like ballooning the national debt and then raising taxes when they have the ability to print and borrow as much money as they want. We've been conditioned that these are unquestionable things. But I'm sorry, like I gotta ask, like, what the hell's going on? I think you should ask what the hell's going on too. Even if you hate my take, even if you really can't stand me, you should be asking, like, okay, why is this the case? Because like this is not how the experiment that is the US, that ain't how it started. And we've improved a lot of stuff, but these two things are not an improvement. We've also like tanked a bunch of things and made them like god awful. So that's my rant. Feel free to please disagree with me in the comments. I love positive comments. Don't get me wrong. I love all you people that leave me something nice. I love you. But I'm not going to lie. The negative comments, they get my blood moving, and I love it. I love that too. They get the adrenaline boost happening. The nice comments make me warm and fuzzy, but the people that disagree with me, you give me an adrenaline hit that's just different. Now, I will say, if you're going to disagree with me, you're not allowed. I mean, I guess you can. I can't stop you. But for being a good sport, don't just tell me, oh, some other idiot that doesn't know what he's talking about. You got to elaborate. You can't just go, try to sidestep the argument by going, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I probably don't. But you have to elaborate. That isn't enough to overturn whatever I'm saying. So, I love all of you. The haters and the people that leave me a like. Love both of you. And take care. Have a great whenever time of day it is. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.